Hello and welcome to Trends with LJE, where we analyze the big stories shaping our nation and world. I am Chidi Iluameke, standing in for Memuna Zubaya. Joining me in the studio are development strategist Shadrach Oka and lecturer and media expert personnel, Dr. Ikedichukwu Chris. You're welcome to the studio, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So how was your weekend?
Splendid.
Oh, beautiful. You're looking like the man from Niger Delta.
I'm a Nigerian, so I should dress like every person in Nigeria.
Gentlemen, let's get into it. Tears as kidnappers kill APC chairman. Mr. Nelson Adeboyigi, the chairman of APC in Ward 5 in Ose local government area of Ondo State, who was kidnapped a few days ago, has reportedly died in the custody of his abductors. Mr. Adeboyigi was said to have been kidnapped recently by some armed men at his residence. The assailants were said to have contacted the family demanding a total sum of 100 million naira ransom for his release, but the family reportedly released just 5 million naira. After collecting 5 million naira, his abductors ended his life. It's interesting. What is really going on, Dr. Shadrach? Mr. Shadrach, what is really going on?
Well, my condolences to the people of Ondo State who recently have been going through a lot in terms of banditry and kidnapping activities, insecurity generally around their forests and areas even within town. On this particular occasion, this man had been adopted for a couple of days or weeks before he was finally killed.
Couple of days.
But again, Nigerian failed them. The state failed them. To rise up to the occasion, demanded for ransom. They paid what they had, what they could come up with. In fact, to make it even more tragic, was that the people who even brought the ransom were being held back, about 3 of them, and they demanded for 30 million naira for their release, after which they couldn't provide. Eventually, 2 were released, and then the man was, hacked dead. Very unfortunately, this calls to question what our security apparatus are really doing, or the government, to protect life and properties. Enough being said on state police. In this case, the Southwest have a Amotekun, which have been enacted by law. Incidentally, it is the governor of Ondo State who actually rose up to the occasion, the late son, Akeredolu. But this time around, it is not enough for government. Anytime things like this, they set up committees upon committees, but when it pleases them, the one that serve their purpose, they move with speed. But up till now, the state once again could not rise up to protect its citizen, which is the very first schedule of the responsibilities of every government, to protect lives and properties of the citizen. The state have failed once again. Condolences to the people of Ose local government of Ondo State.
Okay, just a follow-up to the question. Is it a thing, because recently the Kaduna State governor, that was yesterday, Governor Sani, mentioned that hunger is the major cause of insecurity. What's your take on that?
Well, is it really? If you look at the origin of insurgency and Boko Haram, how it all started from 2012, where it was much pronounced. They came up with an agenda, hosted the flags in Borno State, Yobe State, including Kano State. So it was an ideological movement of, started with religious inclination, or so to say. I don't think it is right to say hunger is the sole motivation for all Nigerians are hungry.
So you think it's just ideological?
Definitely not just hunger. There are a lot of issues that can be linked to insecurity in Nigeria. Some are political, some are just mainly criminality, while then the other one, religious coloration. Those 3 cannot be removed from the narrative that we have in Nigeria.
Okay, so Dr. Chris, you want to lend your voice as to what the governor of Kaduna State, Governor Sani, mentioned during the weekend, and they mentioned that there's hunger in the land and this can be the cause of insecurity. What's your take on this, and how do you think is the way forward that Nigerian can get out of the wood?
Okay, if I'm to add my voice to what the governor of Kaduna State just said, hunger is a proceed of, if I may say, unemployment. Hunger is a proceed of bad governance. Hunger is a proceed of bad leadership. So him saying hunger is like one trying to cut an iroko from the top, not from the root. So hunger is an offshoot of what brought all these things. It's not exactly the exact problem.
What is the exact problem?
The exact problem is we need good governance. We need good leadership. When good leadership is enthroned, it will bring employment to the youth. And you see the youth gainfully engage themselves. And you will see kidnapping. You will see banditry. You will see armed robbery. You will see all the killings around. So what he just said is a kind of giving the analogy.
Particularly now that it has happened to one of their own, an APC member, and then the chieftain.
That is a reminder to tell all of us that a banditry or armed robbery or whatever does not know who is a politician. He does not know who is not a politician. He does not know the old nor the young. So it's an issue that befalls all of us. So this is a call to duty that our leaders, our politicians, they should do what they're supposed to do so that there will be peace in the land. And my condolence to the APC and the Ondo State as a people and Nigeria at large. My condolence, because the person they killed would have, in one way or the other, added his own quota to the governance and the political smooth run of our country. So this is what I can say in that regard.
Yeah, a very sad loss to the nation, I must say. So, gentlemen, we begin with the second story for the day. A story that echoes across faith, leadership, and the environment. As yesterday in Rome, the world witnessed a historic moment. Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost was officially inaugurated as Pope Leo XIV, becoming the first American and only the second non-European in modern times to lead the Catholic Church. The inaugural Mass, held at St. Peter's Square, drew over 150,000 people, including heads of states and religious leaders. Notably, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was there representing Nigeria. Also present was U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance. Pope Leo emphasized unity, the preservation of cultural diversity, and a bold call for environmental justice, echoing concerns over climate change, deforestation, and global inequality. This has been a very serious moment for Catholic faith, for Christians all over the world, over 3 billion people, 5 billion people. And then let me come to you, Dr. Chris. With all of these in mind, how will you interpret the significance of Pope Leo's legacy to the world now that he's now officially the Pope heading Catholic faith?
Thank you very much for that question. You can see the Pope during his inauguration and his message, his message is well understood. He has told us the trajectory of his leadership, where he is going to. He has told us about peace, environmental peace. He has told us how the world is torn apart because of war and some other things he has just said. So, but the message is not for the Muslim, neither is it for the Christian. It's for mankind. And thank God, world leaders graced the occasion. The take home there is this: what is our leaders going to do? What are they going to go home with? What is the message? How are they going to implement what the Pope just said? You saw I watched the occasion myself. Okay. I saw Muslims there. I saw Hindu. I saw Christians. I saw Pentecostal. Every other persons were present. Now, bringing it home to our own president, I hope he got the message right. We need peace in our country, Nigeria. We need environmental peace. We need good leadership. We need all it takes to be good leader of a nation from him. I don't believe they are out there for a kind of jamboree. Let it not be a normal. visitation that we witness or we see from them.
Okay.
This is a special one from them. So they should learn, they should take heed to what the Pope just said in his mass.
You mean the leaders of the world?
Yes, including our precisely, I'm taking it home. I'm bringing it home. Our own president.
Yes.
He has heard what the Pope said. Let them lead us well. Let them bring peace to us. We need peace in our country.
Very, very much, very much. Mr. Chris, I can see you cannot wait to respond to this, but with what is happening in the country and in the world, and with the visit the Nigerian President Tinubu made to the Vatican City, what do you think will be the economic benefits of and diplomatic benefits of that visit to our country, Nigeria?
Well, Rome and Nigeria have shared a long history of mutual respect and economic prosperity or exchanges amongst the other. The president visiting Rome put Nigeria on the map for a long time now, especially during President Muhammadu Buhari's tenure. We've seen Nigerians being missing in big actions. But this time that Tinubu went, at least it's a plus for us, Nigeria on the map. But like my colleague said, doctor said just now, for us, it is not the general message that the Pope has preached to humanity and to mankind. It's how we drive that message home. What is our president, our delegation taking back home to Nigeria? He has said the vision was of the shared vision of peace, mutual respect, and global consolidation. So for us in Nigeria, how are we going to live in peace one with another? The president must understand, especially now, Nigeria, he inherited Nigeria well divided across ethnic and tribal lines. His presidency that brought in him didn't also do well. We've seen a lot of tribal bigotry. People were hacked down and lives were taken during this election, where people were said, if you not vote for A, if your name is this, you should not count. He should take this message very seriously beyond the political, clappings of hands and cheap applause. For us in Nigeria, we are more concerned about life. So when he comes home, let him be able, beyond, especially the fact that he shared images with the
Nigerian president.
Nigerian president shared images where the handshake with the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, one of his major contender, P2B, of which followers in both divides have been at doggerhead one with another. So we want them to come back. Let him use his lips to preach peace. It should not be difficult for Mr. President to call followers to say peace, especially the last election. It is very appalling to know that the man that was going to benefit from, all of these killings that took place in Lagos during the election, he never, for one day with his mouth, called to order those people that were doing that. We want Nigerian leaders to use their mouth to pronounce that they are supporters.
Allegedly.
I'm not saying I didn't hear. I'm talking about President Tinubu. During the elections that brought him in as a president, I have said 2023 general election,
okay,
a lot of lives were taken in Lagos. I didn't hear you specifically the way the Labour Party presidential candidate spoke and said nobody should protest. Yes. They will challenge it in court.
Yes.
Let our politicians and our leaders always say this to their followers who will drink and take drugs and take the life of people at will. So please, they should come back home and preach that peace beyond just this global fanfare.
So beyond global fanfare, there is need for peace to be preached. So thank you, gentlemen, for your thoughts. And we'll go on a quick break. And when we return, we'll discuss about Leah Sharibu's long-term detention in Boko Haram's camp and the Nigerian House of Representatives proposal for mandatory voting for Nigerians. Stay tuned.
Nigeria is at a turning point. Young people are rising, demanding change. If you believe in justice, strong leadership, and real reform, then it's time to take a stand.
At LJE Nigeria, we're not just observers, we're builders. We're tackling leadership deficits, advocating for justice reforms, and driving economic advancements for all.
As a volunteer, you won't just watch. You will be a part of it. You will gain access to powerful seminars, conferences, and mentorships from professionals who believe in your potential.
No matter who you are, whether you're a student, an entrepreneur, a professional, or someone who cares, there's a place for you here.
Network with passionate change makers, build skills, and step into leadership.
Join LJE Nigeria today. Let's lead with truth. Let's build with courage. Let's rise for Nigeria. Become an LJE volunteer today and be the change Nigeria needs. Follow all our social media handles for more details.
Welcome back. The unyielding silence around Leah Sharibu, now to a heartbreaking story closer to home. Last week, Leah Sharibu turned 22 years old. She was just 14 when Boko Haram terrorists abducted her in Dapchi, Yobe State, in 2018. While her classmates were released, Leah was held back because she refused to renounce her Christian faith. Her mother, Rebecca Sharibu, marked her birthday with sorrow and prayer, calling on the Nigerian government and international partners to act. It's been 7 long years, yet no clear progress or consistent updates on the part of security agencies. So, gentlemen, this is not a situation where the families of, not just Leah Sharibu, there are other families that have their children in Boko Haram's captivity. What's your take on this? I will come to you, Mr. Shadrach.
Well, this is not a very pleasant topic to talk about, especially the fact that when you speak certain truth, certain people in the political arena will say you are demarketing Nigeria. And but if you must conquer this kind of issues, you must first begin with truth. You must speak truth. The unfortunate captivity of Leah Sharibu and the other Dapchi girls that were held back was not unconnected to insecurity generally in the Northeast. I recall that before this time, in 2014, about 276 girls were taken from Chibok, and while others were released, about 100 are still missing.
The popular bring back the girls.
Exactly, about 100 of them were missing. Amidst that, we see the Safe School initiative and other programs were run to see how our schools will be safe.
Okay.
It wasn't long after that the Dapchi issue then occurred again. And then these young girls, about 110 of them or thereabout, were being taken. And then by these insurgents. While that went on, a certain Leah Sharibu was held back. I remember vividly that story. We must put certain things in perspective because when the government started negotiating for their release, this particular girl was held back and a condition was given. She had refused to renounce her faith as a Christian to the other religion, and a price tag was placed, about 100 million or thereabout, to be paid for her release. It is on record that the government of Muhammadu Buhari refused to pay that money. And so it is something that is very sad. So we will not forget that a price tag was placed on her head and the state once again failed and that girl was held back. It is not just about her being held back. It's a representation of a collection of people interest in this country. A girl was held back because of her faith, and the president, who is of another religion, refused to pay that money, and that girl was held back up till now. Our schools safe? Many years after that, the question is, are the schools safe for our children?
So
the schools are not yet
Do you think
safe.
yeah, okay, fine. Do you think it's a clear sign of government inability to protect her citizens?
That is the truth. You don't need, the deaf. It is very clear to everybody that the government have failed on its duty to protect life and properties, especially for these young ones that cannot protect themselves. Our schools are not safe. That is not one out of about 15 of such a kidnap that happen, especially in the north. It happens in Kaduna over 2 or 3 times. It happens in Yobe State and other places like that. And up to today, people are being killed and there are no answers. So that is the big question.
With,
there are no
with the
answers.
kind of, I'm coming to you, Dr. Chris, with the kind of monies that the Nigerian government invest and keep investing in security and fighting terrorism. And recently, last week, the President, Tinubu, assured Nigerians that he's out there to fight insecurity and insurgency. What's your take on this?
You see, if I were the governments of our country, Nigeria, I would advise them to stop going to the media each time they make little or no effort. They shout so much that I think they shout beyond what they have just done. Because if I were them, I would do the work and let the people see. But today, it is very glaring, very vivid to you and I that...
But the APC government, in the past two times of Buhari, and they tell us that they have defeated insecurity.
That is what I'm telling you. Just
insurgency technically, and now...
That is what that's where I'm
does it mean they have not defeated?
What I'm telling you is that there are empirical facts on ground that shows that instead of the government of the day defeating insurgents, there is a clear evidence that the insurgents is defeating the government and the security, our security operations in the country. Today, every day we keep hearing social persons, social group of persons were maimed and killed by either armed robbers, by kidnappers, and you keep hearing it each and every time in the air. You keep hearing it in every state. Check, for instance, Plateau, Kaduna, Edo, Imo, everywhere in the country, you keep hearing it. Which day did you hear that, yes, there is no day in Kaduna or in Plateau State, no month that people are not being killed? It is something, this one is the one that is being reported by the media. What about the ones that you and I are not hearing, that happens in our remote villages? Now, no, there's no person to audit.
What's the way forward, in addition to lending your voice to what Dr. Chris says, just in 30 seconds, so we'll move to the next topic.
The way out is, there is, we are seeing a kind of hypocrisy in the way our government is handling the security issue in Nigeria. It is in this country that a certain country, UAE to be precise, mentioned the names of people who are behind the sponsorship of banditry and terrorism. But the government fails to make it loud to the hearing of the public.
Which government failed?
The government of the day, the previous government did it. It started in Buhari's government, where UAE mentioned the names of the people sponsoring banditry and kidnapping and terrorism in this country. But it was shielded and it was hidden or taken away from the public.
So you want the government...
So that means the government knows them and fails they are tolerating it. Okay. And every day we are voting money, funds for security. So there is hypocrisy in the whole thing.
Okay, so are you done with your thoughts before we move forward to our last segment? So anyway, we move forward to our last segment of our story today. There is a new bill before the House of Representatives proposing compulsory voting for all eligible Nigerians. This bill is sponsored by the Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, and Daniel Asama-Agu. The bill aims to tackle voter apathy in the 2023 general elections. Just 29% of registered voters turned out for that elections. Now, if passed, it will mean that failure for Nigerians to vote would carry penalties, although the details of this bill are still very, very sketchy. But, Doctor, is this not... Okay, I'll come to you, Shadrach. Is this not a sign of... will it not infringe on citizens' rights if this bill is passed?
Everybody.
And then secondly, a quick one. Don't you think that at the time where we are discussing about electoral reforms and Nigerians are crying about electoral reforms, this is what the House of Representatives, particularly the leadership, is presented to Nigerians?
What I see our legislators do with regards to this bill on mandatory voting for citizens is a child crying in profuse pain, holding the head, that the head is nagging, but the mother is seen massaging the feet. That is what the House of Reps are just doing. For me, I see misplaced priorities. We don't have issues. If you look at the recent voter turnout from 1999 to date, there have rather been an increase in election participation.
Actually, INEC mentioned that
in
the youths in the last election,
2019, we had a record number of 84 million voters turnout, while in 2023, we have about 96.3. You can see the percentage increase there. So, but what should be worried about is out of 96 million plus, we only have less than 23 million people who voted. You can say about 27% have to decide who becomes Nigerian president. Yeah. So that is what should be worried. It is not about whether the citizens are participating in elections. Yeah. The data shows that the citizens are participating. What are they trying to do with the mandatory voter? That is misplaced priority for me. That is the job of CSOs to do. I participated in all of these election exercises where we went campus to campus asking people to participate, and we saw the turnout of the youth. But what happened? We saw the same election umpire, how they went again. That's a very criminal offense. We saw the wreck in Lagos was accused of packing voters' cards, depriving the people from receiving their voters' card. Petitions were written against him and nothing was done. We saw also during that election how people from a certain tribe were prevented from voting. It is glaring. So what are the reps hiding? What are they trying to do? They should not take Nigerians for fools. We know why we voted them there, and they should not think that we don't know what their roles and responsibilities are to the nation. So at this point, they must redirect their energies to what is right. What is wrong with our voting platforms and voting system is that INEC stood against the people, constituted themselves a clock in the wheel of progress for the Nigerian elections. It is not about the voting. We have seen the pattern, like I said, from 1999 to date. There have been every increment, every successive election comes with increase in sensitization with people. Progress. So the House of Rep, please, should just, that bill, of course, I know, sponsored by Tajuddin, the Mr. Speaker, and a certain lawmaker from Plateau State. But right now, the House is being divided on the bill. That bill should not be allowed to even sail through. They should redirect their energies to what is needed at this time. Why do we have 93.6 million people registered and only less than 23 million people voted and decided who will become Nigerian president? The things that hindered the rest of the people should be what they should channel their energies to. And we know it for a fact that, number one, INEC did not do the right thing. Yeah. We saw some youth corpers brazenly, with impunity in Lagos, for instance, boasted that anybody that does not vote for ACT will not count. Where is that youth corper? She was not prosecuted. We saw people hacked people to death. They were not prosecuted. So those are the issues. The House of Rep must know that Nigerian youths, more than they, are very worried about these things, about the election. We are going to come out and have over 100 million people registered to vote for the next election, but they should channel their energy to what the issues are and stop pretending.
Yes, he has... Dr. Chris.
Yes, to suffice to what he has just said, I will come as in a way of question. When in this country did you hear or watch our National Assembly come up with a motion or a bill that any House of Rep member or a senator that embezzles or misappropriates, mismanaged fund meant for public funds? When did you or have you ever heard that if any person does anything like that, that they will be compelled to a certain year of jail sentence? No, but they are now compelling the people that if they don't vote, one or two things will be done to them. When in life have you ever done it? Now, where is democracy in this? When you are compelling somebody, muzzling somebody to do something against his will, is that democracy? Where is the role of democracy in what they are saying? So I pray that bill will not pass the second reading.
Do you think it is a sign of a government that have zero interest of the people at heart?
It is glaring. There is no place of the people in what they are doing. We don't have an average man does not have a place in what they are doing. That is what it means.
Okay, so on a final note, Mr. Shedrack, do you have any message for our president at a time like this?
Well, the only message I have for Mr. President, who have been an active member of opposition, before he became the leader, I had given President Muhammadu Buhari President Tinubu, through one of my platforms in 2012, celebrated 10 years of sustainable democracy in Nigeria as the most consistent opposition politician in the country. That award is seated in his Bodilon parlor. I did that because we analyzed him and we saw there was an opposition figure, very strong. So he knows what the issues are.
Particularly with his role in ADECO.
Exactly. So we are charging him now. He knows what the issues are. But because he is the one principally going to benefit from all of these things arising from election violence, he should come out. And since he has started campaign already, very unfortunately, you see his campaign pictures all over the place against INEC rules and regulations. So let him come out plainly now, make a speech condemning all of this violence in election, intolerance in elections, and the rest of it, and also persuade the National Assembly to look at the electoral reforms.
Okay.
All the things that we want them to do in terms of electronic voting and election being counted at real time in INEC and IREP, and BVAS should be made available and signed into law. That is what Nigerian youth want at this time.
So Nigerian youth wants electoral reforms coming from our panelists. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. We appreciate. To you watching at home, thank you for staying engaged. Remember, it's not enough to stay informed. Ask all the necessary questions. Go to our social media handles and participate in discussions that will shape our future. I am Chidi Ilomeke. See you next time.